If you sustain an injury when you're on someone else's property, you have a slip and fall, a trip and fall, or anything like that, there are several things you can and should do. Number one, if you have a witness who sees the accident, make sure you get their name and number. Whether that is a friend or a complete stranger, it's important to have that information. What is also important if the accident is not witnessed is, if possible, contact the property owner solely just to let them know you did sustain an injury on their property and that you might very well be seeking medical care. Sometimes when we have cases, the defendants, the property owners will say, well, I didn't even know about this until weeks, months, or years later. So there's always going to be a question then as to whether the accident really happened. There's no witnesses. How do we know you're not just making up this story? So in some circumstances, it's important to contact the property owner just to advise them of that. If you have a camera, take pictures of the area where you fell. Pictures can be the most important information and evidence in a case where you're hurt on someone's property, because, as they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Finally, if your case involves a slipping type incident, it's important to keep the shoes that you were wearing that day. Don't throw them away, because it's almost likely that the other side will want to check out the shoes you were wearing that day, make sure they were appropriate footwear for what you were, for the conditions that were there that day. Take it this way. Generally, there are two types of damages which folks can receive through a personal injury case. There are economic damages, which are basically your past medical bills, your medical bills that you might incur in the future after your case is over, your prior wage loss, impairment of earning capacity, lost business profits, as well as future lost wages that are expected to occur as a result of your accident. We also have what are called non-economic damages, which I like to refer to as harms and losses, which some people like to refer to as pain and suffering. People have different types of pain, different types of suffering, different body parts that are hurt. But what the focus is how bad the pain is, the quantity of the pain, the duration of the pain, but not only the pain, also the loss of movement. Can someone move their arm anymore? Can they rotate their neck as well as they did before? And we take all of that into account when trying to determine what appropriate compensation is for our clients. In some occasions, there are available to our clients punitive damages. Now, that is by far the exception rather than the rule. But for instance, in a drunk driving case, a client can seek punitive damages. Punitive damages aren't designed to compensate the plaintiff, the injured person. They are designed to punish the defendant for wrongdoing. And even though the purpose is to punish the defendant for wrongdoing, the plaintiff still can obtain money for punitive damages, because the idea is we want to tell the defendant, your conduct was so wrong and so socially intolerable that we want to impose additional measures against you, so hopefully you won't do that again. One of the things I enjoy about being an attorney is the challenge that each case presents. Each client is different, each client is unique, and therefore their case is unique. When I was a professional baseball player, you had to get up every day, you had to prepare for each day's game, and when you were playing every day for about 150 days straight, the challenge was there every day or every night, including the preparation work that went on before the game. In helping injured folks, it's not that much different. You work with them on their case. There's a lot of preparation, there's a lot of work involved, to the point where you're either going to get that case settled down the road, which is the culmination of that work, the equivalent of the game, or you take the case all the way to trial, which is really the ultimate game. I enjoyed playing baseball. I loved the thrill of the game, the excitement, the butterflies. Same thing applies when trying to get a case settled, and especially when you go to court. There's nothing that's a greater rush than being able to take a case to trial. When looking for an attorney, I think there are several things that are important. Number one, you want to find someone who's experienced in the context of personal injury cases, someone who's experienced in handling personal injury cases, whether they're auto accidents, premises liability cases, or dealings with insurance companies. The experience is important. You want to find someone who is also not afraid to take a case and to take the appropriate case to a jury trial. There are a lot of attorneys out there who advertise and do personal injury cases but have no intention whatsoever of taking a case to a jury trial. They probably haven't seen a courtroom in years and years. It's important to know that you've got someone in your corner who, if they believe the case needs to be tried, have no hesitation in going and taking that case to trial for you. Probably most importantly, I would suggest to folks that find an attorney you like. When I meet with folks, they come in, you're probably going to find out if you like me fairly quickly and whether I'm going to like you fairly quickly. You have to have someone you like, someone you feel that you can have conversations with, that you're comfortable with, and someone who you want to walk with you side by side as your case proceeds down the road to whatever conclusion happens, whether it's a settlement or a jury trial. You want to have someone that you like. When looking for a personal injury attorney, I think there are several things that are important. Number one, you want to find someone who has plenty of experience handling the type of case that you come to see someone about. You probably don't want to hire someone who just dabbles a little bit in personal injury work. You want someone who is doing this day in and day out, and that's what we do here at Black, Chapman, Weber, and Stevens. You also want someone who is going to be there to listen to your concerns, to hear what your fears are, and to have compassion for the situation you are in. That is probably one of the most important things that a client has and wants out of their attorney. You should also look for someone who is not afraid to take a case all the way to a jury trial. There are some attorneys out there who do personal injury work who have absolutely no intention of ever taking the case to trial and probably haven't tried a case for years and years and years. You have to, in taking a case, be prepared to take that appropriate case to trial and let the client know when they need to take their case to trial. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, find an attorney that you like. When you meet with an attorney for the first time, you sit across from them, you should be able to know fairly soon if this is someone you like, whether it's someone you trust, and it's someone that you want to have lead you down the path of your injury case to its ultimate conclusion. If you don't like the attorney, then it's probably not going to be the most pleasurable experience.